So, hello and welcome to the very first and premiere live stream of Leisure Suit Larry Wet Dreams Don't Dry. As you can see, I was kind of forced to wear this suit. And yeah, I think Larry and I are kind of same now. And my name is Timothy T. I'm the, Dennis is already in love. I'm the product manager of Leisure Suit Larry, Wet Dreams Don't Dry, at Assemble Entertainment, the publisher. And on the other side, on the right upper corner, who is there? Tell me.
Hi, this is Malte from Crazy Bunch, the developer, and I'm the creative director of Leisure Suit Larry, Wet Dreams Don't Dry.
That is correct. That is correct. Today, me and Malte will show you some gameplay of Leisure Suit Larry and some live gameplay which we have never shown before. And yeah, we will after that discuss some things and maybe answer some questions of you. Just depends on your side how many questions you have and what kind of questions. Maybe I can answer them or maybe just Malte. And yeah, we will just look into that during the stream. So, is there anything we should discuss before? I don't think so. Then I guess we can come to the. Let's just talk a bit about your Crazy Bunch. I would say before we go into that. Crazy Bunch. That would be kind of nice. Crazy Bench.
Yeah, or Crazy Punch or Crazy Brunch. Heard everything.
Crazy Bunch. Who are you? How many are you? And how would you say is the development so far on Leisure Suit Larry?
Oh my God. No, well, Crazy Bunch is kind of young studio. We are based in Hamburg and we founded our company 4 years ago. 3 of our 4 founders worked at Dedelic Entertainment before, so we are very experienced on making point-and-click adventure games. And yeah, right now they are working like 12 to 14 people simultaneously on the game. And
okay, Malte, stop one thing before. I
Yeah.
think we gotta restart the stream because we have now full HD.
Technical
And,
difficulties. No.
and it causes some kind of trouble. So we
Okay.
restart and we'll start it in 270p and we'll be back right now in a few minutes. See you and answer that after that. See you.
Bye bye.
Okay. I would say we are back live again. So sorry
Hey,
for
guys.
the disruption here. And yeah, I hope now it works good or better than before. Yeah, okay, cool. That's nice feedback. Way better. Great. Then let's start before the disruption. And sorry, Malte. Maybe do you want to answer your question again? And that was, how is the development of Leisure Suit Larry: Where Dreams Don't Die so far going? And yeah, who are you and how many are you on Crazy Bunch?
Yeah, so we are Crazy Bunch, a small developer based in Germany, in Hamburg. And right now there are, I think, like 12 to 14 people simultaneously working on Leisure Suit Larry. And we are kind of a young studio, so we founded our studio 4 years ago. And before that, 3 of our 4 founders worked at Dedelic Entertainment. And we have a lot of experience making point-and-click adventures so far. Yeah, and I think the development of Leisure Suit Larry was a challenge, of course. We can talk about that probably later. But right now we're just polishing, so everything is great, and we're really looking forward for releasing the game.
Cool. I guess I hope so that the viewers know who are you then, or now. And I think that's a good start to start on Leisure Suit Larry. I will switch the scene now to in-game. I guess now comes the exciting part of the stream. So, and the in-game part is, I guess, I hope this one, right? And yeah, we are on the main menu of Leisure Suit Larry. And I guess the best thing is to start right now, right from the beginning. So let's start a new game.
Let's go.
Yes.
Hello? Hey, babe. Why'd you turn off the light? Where are you? Oh, yeah. That feels like you're... Ouch! But then again, maybe not. And how come we're not in bed anymore? Where is the bed, anyway? Babe! She must have split. Typical. Now, where did I end up this time? Oh, man. The quest for love leads you to the strangest places. And most of them are pitch black, damp, and gloomy. Well, first things first. Time to put some light on the subject.
And now I take the control. As you can see, Larry is in a black room. I think we leave it in a kind of a mystery. What kind of black room? Maybe that is a thing after release. Or do we want to open it?
It's also, this is actually not the very beginning of the game. I want to spoil that much. We have a little prologue before this, but you can see it in the released version then. But just as a little spoiler right here.
Great. So I will start with the very first puzzle in the game. And the very first puzzle is how to get up, as you can see with this right arrow. And I know how to solve that puzzle. And I will now.
What is this place?
And
Seems to be some kind of high-tech laboratory. Was I abducted? And most important, by whom?
to show you how Larry
Well, that
really
did
looks like.
something. Did they experiment on me? And most important, who? I feel like I've been sleeping for ages.
Thanks for the feedback on the
Daylight.
voiceovers.
Whoa, that must have been one hell of a night. Everything's blurry. But it's a brand new day. And today the sun is shining for one man and one man only. Larry Laffer!
I saw that.
But then again, maybe not. Did I sleep all day? Not a problem. That means it's another hot night for Larry Laffer! Hey, what the hell was that? Looks like the elevator's dead. Looks like it's out of juice, as opposed to yours truly. Huh, this looks a little different than I remember.
And now I have to control back, but before I go in, Malte, can you maybe tell us now, where are we?
Yeah, I think for old Larry fans, it's pretty obvious we are in front of Lefty's Bar. So it's a location from the very first installment of the game from 1987, first introduced there. And yeah, but some things have changed, and it's now 2018, or at least we are in the 21st century. And there's, for example, you can see in the upper right corner that there's a breaking ball inside Lefty's, and there's a sign which says coming soon, which means that they want to build some fancy condos there at the beach. So yeah, a little bit of gentrification is going on there. And but by the way, I just wanted to say there are no sound effects yet implemented, but I can confirm we probably are going to have sound effects in the final release, so don't worry about that. But yeah, if you want to, we can just head in and yeah, let's see what's going on there.
Right. Just to give you some details about that, the version we're looking right now is just about, let's say, 1.5 to 2 months old. So yeah, that is definitely still pre-alpha or alpha footage, and many things are work in progress still. As Malte already told you, for example, the sound files or the sound at all. So don't worry, there will be in the end or in the release many sounds which you give a nice or better atmosphere or better impressions how the world of Leisure Suit Larry Dreams Don't Dry now works. But yeah, less talking, more playing. Go into the Lefty's Bar.
And then this like mega hot guy comes up to me and I was like,
Hey, you don't have to talk about me in the third person, baby.
and then I took a closer look at him and think, hello, those clothes are like so not.
Hey!
Wait a minute. Ugh, some guy keeps talking to me. I'll call you back later.
What's a woman like you doing in a place like Lefty's?
Well, the reviews sure didn't get me here. The joint only has like 23 fans on Instacrap and a half star on Gulp. OMG, mega downer. But it's supposed to be the city's hot insider tip after Next. At least it's also totally retro and vintage and stuff. Look at this filth. It really looks real. The Salon de Lézard is nothing compared to this. I'm Becky Butter, but I'm sure you already knew that. You look like one of my typical followers.
I wasn't following you, honestly. I'm Larry. Larry Laughing.
Hey, my community is fading. My channel could really use some likes, or I'm gonna lose traction.
Channel? But the TV is off.
Or don't you use Instacrap? I mean, you're more like the Facebook conspiracy theory generation, aren't you? And what's your score on Timber? I mean, you're about like, I don't know, maybe 50 years too old, but I heard that there are a few seniors using it. But they're more with the whole like far shit or elite farter kind of thing. All I ever find there are like these totally superficial braggarts. Great profile photo, but absolutely no character. I get around a lot and it shows. Next year I'm going to the Scorching Dude Festival because everyone's so open there. And they're supposed to be serving a brand new craft beer here. Home brewed, totally analog, like by hand and all. Great for a selfie.
Hey, I can get you one of those giraffe beers.
Craft beer.
Yeah, or one of those.
And if they have any like really spicy versions, then that's what I want. You know, like pumpkin spice or lemon cobra or something.
Oh yeah, sure.
And now back in control again. So, before I'm clicking on lefties, maybe Malte, you can tell us a bit about the lefties location and how it's still connected to the past of the Larry series, and yeah, what was your vision of creating, I mean that's a big question, to create a new Leisure Suit Larry where dreams don't dry?
Okay, so first things first, the location, lefties. Of course, we wanted to implement this location into the game because it's like the connection Larry has to his world in the city. Larry is now in New Lost Wages. He isn't anymore in just Lost Wages. So, but he still remembers this location, and that was our idea to start his journey there. So he has a connection to his past in some way. And yeah, we took a lot of rooms, and some of those rooms from the first installment we totally changed them. Like for example, the restroom and the brewery room to the right there. And yeah, so it was somewhat important to start off there in Lefty's Bar. And by the way, if you haven't noticed, Lefty hasn't redecorated since the late 80s. There's still the pixel girl painting up there. So that's also a reference to the original version of the Larry game. And for the characters, for example, we just talked to Becky, and we wanted to make all the characters in the game cliche, a stereotype like Larry is. So, but more modern stereotype. So Larry has somewhat to cope with those modern stereotypes because he doesn't know them. And Becky, for example, she's this wannabe influencer girl, if you want to.
Great. And the last question: what was your vision? Let's say, what is your vision about Leisure Suit Larry? And maybe you can tell us a bit about why he is in the present now, or what was interesting about the present now in connection to Larry.
Yeah. So when we started the game, the only idea we had about the game was this very essence everything is built on is we just thought, okay, what would happen if you would transfer such a character from the 80s into our time? And you can somewhat compare it to Austin Powers if you want, for example. It really is a man out of time story, a time traveler story, because it just pops up there. Right now he still thinks he's in the late 80s, so he hasn't found out yet that he's in the future for him at least. So and then everything we built on that. It was like you can say it somewhat was like we just imagined a few situations which Larry can be in. For example, Becky, for example, or later on he's faced with hipsters or other stuff, and so or a webcam stripper, for example. And we just thought about characters, locations, situations that would be funny with this idea to transfer such a character in our time. And yeah, everything is built on this essence, on this simple idea of the game.
Great. So I would say maybe let's Larry find out that he's not an imposter anymore. And I think maybe some of you might be interested how Lefty, the person Lefty, sounds like. So I would say let's start the conversation.
What'll it be? What the... What? Larry? Is it really you?
Who else?
It is you. I haven't seen you in ages. And you haven't aged a day. You know, somehow, you look even better than before. Not as chubby. We wondered where you'd gotten to. Some said you'd retired to an exotic island somewhere. Others thought you had entered a monastery. And some said you were dead.
The only exotic thing I ever had was a disease.
Looks like you still suffer from your incurable lack of good taste. But seriously, Larry, what happened to you?
Well, I was on a date with, what was her name? At any rate, we went to her place. Or to mine. Or to a hotel. Anyway, and then... let's just say the handcuffs on the bedstead were pretty tight.
I do the same thing. Helps against sleepwalking.
Now, I'm not saying it was aliens, but it was aliens.
Oh, I don't even want to know what they did to your orifices.
Just between you and me, I don't know if we had sex or not.
Just between you and me, between the two of us, you still look like a virgin.
I have no idea what happened.
Don't worry, Larry. No one knows what's going on anymore. The world's gotten confusing.
Yeah, something's wrong here. Becky talked about Instacrap, timber, and a bunch of other things I've never heard of.
Wait a minute. Larry, you do realize you've been gone a long time, don't you?
What do you mean?
You completely dropped off the radar. Like for years.
What are you saying? You mean it's already 1990? Or even 2000? Is the glowing box a remote control for a jetpack? Are we on Mars?
Well, see, it's... come closer.
Really?
Really?
Okay, I'm in the 21st century. Many of the people I knew are dead. Everything has changed. I don't know this world. But hey, who cares? I still have my good looks, my unparalleled charisma, and the biggest...
this is a family establishment.
Smile in town.
Right. And we have seen our announcement and new trailer today, our new gameplay trailer. Might have known this scene before. So now Larry knows about the that he is in the present now, in our present, not in the 80s anymore. And yeah, Malte, what would you say is kind of interesting that he is not in the 80s anymore, but in the present? Just one example or two.
You mean what he later has to struggle with? Or?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. Becky talked about all those apps before, like Timber and Instacrap and stuff. So that is an example, because Larry later on, we are coming right to that. But later on, he gets his own smartphone, and all those, or at least some of the apps Becky talked about, they are actually in the game, and Larry can unlock them throughout the game. And yes, he has to use them in order to, for example, hook up with women. And that is a very big part of the game. But also, Larry never really adapts to this. He sticks to his behavior because he's Larry. We don't want to change the character. That was too very important for us, because we somewhat modernized the character maybe a bit, made him maybe a bit more sympathetic, but he's still that. On the one hand, he's still that sleazy guy who's looking for sex. And on the other hand, he's also still, like it was in the previous games, he's still this 39-year-old naive virgin who's looking for love and the woman of his dreams.
Right. As you might have recognized that Lefty is also synchronized by a very, very famous voice. I guess it was Tom Baker, if I'm not mistaken. Dennis, can you tell about that? And just to mention it, Dennis is our PR and marketing manager, and he's on the chat right now. So he's the one from our side who is talking to you, and our moderator on the chat. And so if you have questions I cannot answer, he might answer that. And thank you guys who are already writing that they have pre-purchased the game and really like the style, like the humor, like the voices. That is very, yeah, that really means much to us, I would say. Maybe Malte, you would say the same. And yeah, I would say maybe we continue just a bit forward within the Lefty level and give Becky the craft beer, or try to get it, and then come to a scene where you can see that smartphone that Malte already mentioned. And
one thing before now, Lefty, in order to he wants to save his bar, because as you have seen before, like there was a wrecking ball in his bar and they were to wreck down the place and build new condos and stuff.
Yeah.
So he's brewing his own craft beer. It's called Barbarenbräu. So in German, you can see it right there above the restroom doors.
Yeah, but that's only because you have your own barbar, right?
Yeah, right. He's back there. So, and actually Lefty is not very good in brewing craft beer. Later, for example, you have a puzzle chain involving the brewing machine, and it's just some washing machines clustered together, messed up pipes, and Lefty is always wondering why people are getting sick by drinking his beer, and that's, for example, a running gag throughout the game.
You already spoiled a running gag.
Something I can do for you, Larry?
So,
Well,
I will click now a bit faster on the dialogue so that you see a bit more content and a bit more gameplay. So,
what about?
Yeah.
Oops, I misclicked.
I'd like 2 beers, please.
One for Becky? Fine. She's one of those damned hipsters flooding the city these days. I used to put...
These damn hipsters.
Yeah,
I can't tell you stories about it.
Here you go. 2.
Put it on my tab.
Larry, tell me, did you just put those 2 beers in your jacket?
Sure, that's what I always do, with everything. Isn't that allowed anymore?
Never mind.
See you later, Lefty.
Great. And now we're giving these 2 beers, these 2 craft beers, Becky. And also a bit, yeah, faster than before.
Hey, oh. Cheers!
Wait! I have to take some pictures first.
And this also can take some time. This is why
right.
I You will
Wait!
see click it.
I still have to film the
Maybe you recognize these hipster
and that even though it smells
influencer
strange.
style.
And you can't even see through the beer, it's so... And if you like the video, click on like and fave and thumbs.
Maybe think on that when you
And
going
don't forget to
yourself on a
subscribe to my
restaurant
channel.
and or in a bar.
Yeah, cheers.
Maybe you're a
Cheers.
bit like Becky. Hey, I never did that before. Never.
I think I'm gonna be sick.
Wait, I want to film you getting sick. Hashtag fail.
You girls from the future seem to have stomachs made of steel, or you're all robots. Sexy robots. My prayers have been answered. I'm just going to the bathroom, baby. Don't go anywhere. Oh, boy.
So he is now, yeah, he's kind of
Lefty.
sick.
What's...
Needs some kind of
My God.
yeah, freshman
I need
in the
that.
toilet. And now let's fast forward. Get to the toilet.
Damn. Lock.
Ah,
Damn.
whoops. Dip, dip.
Oh, the key broke, but at least it broke after it unlocked the lock.
And now comes the very first cutscene, I guess.
Yes, as Becky said before, she was talking about this Instacrab.
Yeah.
What is that? Am I hallucinating? No. There's something in that crud.
Right. And as you can see, I will click on it,
Just not gonna touch that.
and he's not gonna touch that. So, that is the very first puzzle in the game. Still a simple one. And I will, yeah, show you the solution. But it also shows some kind of mechanics in the game, which are, for example, combining some
I could
items.
use that to remove the slime, but my hands would come closer to it than I'd like.
And that isn't the tip which tells you that you need another item. And I will
I
combine
did
these
that
two.
without an engineering degree. Okay, very carefully now. There's one of those glowing boxes in there.
And now I will also fast forward a bit, just
Motion-
not to
But I-
spoil too much.
I
Launch
how come
this you
I
They-
learned 3
acid
Huh?
prune
And
prune incorporated.
and you
after that, Malte, maybe you can tell us a bit about your,
the best bar.
Please
Hey, if you
let's
don't
say about the
secure-
puzzle mechanics.
self dis
Maybe what was your inspirations for that,
left
and
Huh?
how they mainly work in the game, and how you come to the solutions of the different puzzles. And I will load a new save game during your answer the question.
Okay. Yeah, so it still is a Larry game. From the humor and the story, it is still a very Sierra-like game. But we did spice things up a bit because I did the puzzle design, and I'm more like the LucasArts kid. So and in LucasArts adventures, the puzzles are much more difficult than in Sierra games, and you have a lot more items. For example, the last Larry game, La for Sale, I think it had like 60 or 70 items, and now in Wet Dreams and Dry we have over 170 items in the game, and yeah, we have a lot of puzzles and a lot of difficult puzzles. I think it will be really difficult. And so the puzzle design is very much more like LucasArts adventures, but the story and the humor is still like Larry, because our author, our main writer, Falco, he's a huge, he also is a LucasArts fan, but he's a huge Sierra fan, he's a huge Larry fan, and he brought, and he's over 40 years old, by the way, so
what does that mean?
He actually played the very first Larry games back then. Yeah. And yeah, he really stuck to the humor of Elo, for example, and of the old Larry games. And I, who did the puzzle designs, I'm more LucasArts kid, and so I think we mixed it a bit up, and I think it's a cool mix. So and there are not only difficult puzzles, there are also whimsical, wacky stuff going on, so be prepared for some awesome puzzles. I don't want to spoil too much, but it really gets crazy sometimes.
Like a Crazy Bunch, you mean?
Right.
Great. And yeah, one question leads to another question. Well, let's say here is the smartphone you mentioned, and
yeah.
I click on the different things, and for example, like, okay, the inventory is still the same, but Timber. What is Timber, Malte?
Yeah, so Timber is our dating app, and because Larry he falls in love with a woman. I don't want to again, I don't want to spoil too much here, but yeah, he then needs to get a certain score in the Timber app. So when you date women with Timber, at the end of the date you get a score, and this adds up to your Timber score. And when you have a certain score, you need to achieve a certain score in the game in order to date the woman of your dreams. So that's perfect for Larry. So in order to get to the woman of his dreams, he needs to date other women. Great. He thinks the 21st century is the best century ever. So yeah, that's the main player goal actually. So we have all these characters which are dateable inside the city of New Lost Wages, and those are, you can compare them somewhat to quest characters. You have to do stuff for them, and at the end you get points. And it's also not very linear in the middle of the game. So if you can show the Unter app real quick.
The Instagram, yeah.
No, the Unter app.
Ah, the Unter app. Sorry, I
yeah.
misheard that.
So there you can see a city map, and even more locations unlocked throughout the game. So the middle part of the game is very open, and you can decide which dates, for example, to do first and which dates to do later. And I compare it to Monkey Island 2. For example, there you are, in the beginning you are in Woodtick, you have this linear kind of exposition, and then after Guybrush, at the end of Woodtick, he gets his own ship, and then you can go to all the islands and stuff. It's kind of the same here in Where Dreams Don't Dry. So we have this linear exposition until you get the smartphone and stuff, and then we open up the world, and you can do whatever you like.
Which also increases the difficulty of the different puzzles, because it also means that you don't find the items you need to solving a puzzle on the same location you have the problem or the puzzle. So maybe you have to discover different locations for items you need for the right puzzle. And I think that's a good, as you already said, that's a good explanation how the, yeah, let's say how the world of Leisure Suit Larry works, and what you can expect of Leisure Suit Larry and its puzzles. And maybe I click on the last app. I hope it works. It doesn't work. Ah, sadly, it doesn't work. But wait, but
no, it doesn't. It doesn't work yet. There, you can actually rewatch all your Instacrab stories you unlock throughout the story. For certain story points, we have those Instacrab stories, those little video cutscenes, and I think we have like 20 in the game. So and after you unlock them through the story, you can rewatch them in this app.
Great. So I would say that's enough gameplay for today. The problem you maybe know it by yourself, that is if you show too much gameplay of the game, it will spoil you too hard. So it's very difficult to show you Leisure Suit Larry without spoiling. It's not possible. But I think we showed you many things about the game that are not that important for the future acts or parts of Leisure Suit Larry, because we have 4 acts, right, Malte?
Yeah, it's not really split in 4 acts, but you can say we have some finales throughout the game. I don't want to talk too much about it.
Yeah, that's difficult, right?
It's for an adventure, for a point-and-click adventure game. It's a huge game. You have about 10 hours of playtime.
That's quite a lot. I would say quite a much.
Yeah.
So I'm showing now, and I'm switching. Let's say it that way, to some backgrounds and locations of Where Dreams Don't Dry, and wrong thing. That's one misclicked. And now comes the part where we will answer questions of you if you have ones. And you see in the background alpha footage, alpha locations, which are still work in progress, so they are not final in the release. Maybe some things might have changed then, but I think it gives you a good overview about the art style of Leisure Suit Larry. Can you maybe tell us a bit about the art style or the designs, the visions about Larry, and how did you do them, and how was it making them? What was your inspiration for making them?
So, yeah, for what we got criticized a lot is that we changed Larry's appearance. Yeah, but I think it's mostly of the hardcore fans. So that was a problem, because Larry in the earlier versions of the game, or not in the earlier versions, in the earlier games, there he was like this little gnome, a bit chubby, and the other characters, they were out of style. They were more like, especially the women, they were a lot like pin-up and more realistic style, and that and we didn't like that much. So we wanted to do an art style which suits every character of the game. So we made Larry a bit taller, and he's still kind of small. So I think he's like 1.75 meters or something. Yeah, but we changed some things, and for the backgrounds, it was just like I already told you. With all the inspirational process we had, like we were just thinking about locations which could be fun with Larry. So, for example, the prune store with the Brainiacs and the Brainiac bar, and they keep nagging on Larry and they are not useful throughout the game. Or, of course, the Leisure Suite, a sex shop, and there's a nightclub and stuff. So every location which came up was actually because we just thought that it would be really funny to have all those interactions with Larry in there. So, and the general art style, it was just, we wanted to have it very colorful. So of course you can say it's very pink and purple, but still it's vibrant, and it's yeah, they are it's still very colorful. So and that was very important for us too.
And everything is hand-drawn, right?
Right. Everything you see is hand-drawn. Even the characters are hand-drawn. If you are into technical stuff, we are animating the characters with a spine. That's a skeletal animation system. So we are not animating them like frame by frame, but with skeleton animation, and that's like you also would animate a 3D model, for example.
And I think one funny thing is, and yeah, worth to mention is who did draw these things?
Yeah, we had mainly two background artists. One is Johannes Lott from Hamburg, and the other one is Irina Zinner, also from Hamburg. And most of the screens is from Johannes. So nearly all the screens we have in the game are designed and colored by one person in that short of time. So it was very complicated to achieve this, but actually he's so experienced, and I think our whole art team, it was we actually the whole art team, we assembled them especially for that project. So those are all guys who already worked on point-and-click adventures. I think there's nearly no one on the project, especially in the art team, who hasn't released a point-and-click adventure. I think most of them has like 2 to 3 point-and-click adventure releases under their belt. So that was really fun because we were really fast and could do a lot of stuff in that time.
Great.
And so yeah, most of the things you lot had to draw, and there are a lot of penises, for example, in the screens, and there are hidden things, a lot of detail. We have a lot of innuendo. We have a lot of references to pop culture. Yeah, and really, if you play the game, just watch at the screens and look at everything, because you find so many things. For example, in the sex shop. Yeah, I don't want to spoil too much, but you can find characters from the earlier game there. They are little hidden graphics and stuff. So that was really cool. And I'm the creative director, and I still discover things in the background I haven't seen before. So.
But it shouldn't be that way, right? But I mean, the other cool thing is that your art director is a woman. So how many women are on your side?
Oh, I think it's nearly 50-50.
Yeah.
We had a lot of women working on the project, but mostly in the art department. That's true. But also, we are such a small team, and we're all hanging here together in a middle-sized office. You can say, and we're just shouting at each other all the time. So everyone actually was always. Everyone was involved in creative decisions. So it was not only, okay, you make this character, you make that character, because we asked all our character artists, for example. We didn't tell them, okay, you make now a pawn shop clerk, for example, but we told them at the very beginning in the pre-production. We told them, hey, what characters do you come up with which would be fun for a Larry interaction? And so that actually was how we designed all those characters. So a lot of input there came from the art department. And yeah, there were a lot of women in the art department. And I think I presented this game now at the Gamescom. I presented it at PAX in Seattle, and
which was last week.
Yeah, right. And women really think it's quite hilarious. So I think it's also a good game for women to play. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the important thing for me is here to say that that we have a team working on the new Wet Dreams Don't Dry, which has a nice mix of men and women. That is not a, let's say, that's not a dicks game somehow. But I mean, it's a game created by men and women. So many topics which are currently, let's say, hot. We kind of put it into this game. Not everything, but some of them, and it's still a game has a lot of humor and parody parts, but it also means it's not a game which is only seen from one side, which I mean is from man's side. It's also made by women, and yeah, I think that's kind of important for a new game, for a new adventure, and also for a game like Larry, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, of course. I think it was, but I think it always was really important for the franchise that the joke is always on Larry.
Yeah.
So the games never were like political statements or anything, and I think our game is just, there are some some social topics in there, like as I said, gentrification, for example, or hipsters or influencers and stuff, or like the Prune store and the big bad tech company Prune and stuff like that. But the most important thing, it's very comical humor. It's very over the top humor. It's just wants to be really funny, and the joke is always on Larry because that's what the humor is about. It's about that Larry is a douchebag and he does stupid stuff and people are laughing about him. And you shouldn't take the game too serious because the game takes it doesn't take itself serious at all.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
So before we're coming to another question, and I hope that you are telling us your question in the stream, because we are kinda coming to an close end of this stream, because we don't want to stretch it that long and come to a part where it gets only noisy, I would say. Is I want to announce the winner of a contest we made during the Gamescom. It was a contest about a lookalike Larry contest. Who can show us your Larry? And the winner of this contest, I hope I push now the right button, was Mitch.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Mitch. Thank us for your Larry. You won, I guess, $1,000 pure cash, and I guess a Steam key for the new Leisure Suit Larry. And thank you very much for committing to our contest and being part of that. As you can see, hashtag show us your Larry. So thank you very much, Mitch.
Yeah,
and thank you
icon,
for all
by
the
way.
others. Sorry, what did you say?
a great icon above that.
Right, yeah, I don't know what it should be, but I guess it's some like a rabbit or something, you know?
Yeah, a sausage, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess that. But I saw a question, I guess. What was the question? Maybe I can scroll. I get back to the Dire show. What was the question? And Dennis is now already giving some free Steam keys out there. So just look on the chat. Okay. The first game, after the first game, are there any plans for a second one when Wet Dreams Don't Dry is successful? This question comes from Rohel. And I mean, it's difficult to answer that. I mean, I guess, Malte, you would like to do a next one, I guess? Would you say that?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, immediately, that's a no-brainer actually, because it's so much fun. The humor is so cool, and Larry's such an idiot. So of course.
But of course, that's nothing we can announce yet, because it's way too early for that. Leisure Suit Larry is coming out on November 7th on Steam for PC and Mac. Other platforms are not announced yet, so there might be ones, but we can say it for sure now. And I guess maybe I'm looking for a new question for you before we come to an end, and I think that's a kind of a good question for an end. What would you say, Malte, is the funniest joke or part or Larry thing you created or you are still laughing about, or where you had the moment that you were not prepared for that and you laughed about the joke for Larry?
That of course is a difficult question. There are a lot of things we're still laughing at, and that were hilarious when we were coming up with this stuff. I don't want to spoil too much, but I like the item interactions. For example, there are a lot of items which are hilarious, and you first don't get it. For example, you find at the pier you find a public chessboard, and there's a very weird looking chess piece there, which looks a little bit like a plug maybe, and you need it for a puzzle chain later. That was really quite funny when we came up with that idea. So, and there's another thing, and I spoiled that already on every presentation, so I think it's no problem to spoil it here too. And it's also on the cover art, everyone knows so far. And
one thing before you come to a conclusion,
yeah.
Maybe you can also add a bit something about the puzzle difficulty, because you already mentioned the puzzle chain or something, and I think that is something we need to, let's say, put into the front of Larry. The puzzle mechanics that are really difficult, right? Would you say that?
Yeah, they are. I hope they are not too difficult, because we got a lot of item combinations, for example, and you just have to try out a few things. And we have no hint system in the game, but we want to reward the player for just clicking so you can left click on objects in the game in order to interact with them, but you can also right click on objects in the game in order to examine them, and also right click on items in your inventory. So that is very important to do, because you naturally get hints from that, because Larry is stating things when he examines stuff, of course. For example, like he did with a broomstick. That he didn't want to, or he said he doesn't want to touch it with his hands, and then he said with a toilet paper roll he stated that he doesn't want to get near to it, and so you get all the hints you need for solving the puzzles, but the player has to do some stuff like examining items or trying different stuff. But at the end, I think it's doable to get all the puzzles without a walkthrough.
And now it comes to your joke.
Yeah. So we at the end, or we will have in the game, we will have wrestling alpacas. So I think you already have seen them. They are on the official artwork, and yeah, that's quite great, because at the end of the game it gets really crazy, and actually from the humor and from the story a little bit more LucasArtsy, which I like. But yeah, so that was the last part of the game was very fun to do for us. It was great.
The funny thing is, yesterday I said something about alpacas, and somebody else said something about llamas. Do you know, is there a difference between llamas and alpacas?
Yeah, definitely. Llamas are, I think they are not even that close.
Maybe the chat can answer that.
but I don't know. But there's definitely a difference. Llamas are like bigger, and I think they are more close to camels. But I don't know. I think they taste the same.
They taste the same.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, what do you want to taste from alpacas or llamas? Okay. Another topic. You might see that Larry brings everyone to a certain kind of thinking, and it's not just about the humor there. So I would say we come to an end for this stream. So I don't see any questions again, and I hope that you really enjoyed what we have shown you, that the gameplay, the new Larry, and Oh, Julianne, Julianne, Malte, Julianne says this Malte guy is cute. A compliment for you. Say thank you.
Thank you, Julianne.
So, Julianne, don't worry, I give you his number afterwards. And yeah, thank you very much for viewing our stream. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that you liked our interview part. I hope that you liked our art style, our new Larry. I really do hope that you are enjoying what we're doing, and it really means a lot to us that we are trying to get back an old series which was back in the old days, and we hope that it is kind of big nowadays with this new fresh style and this new fresh humor and this new fresh attitude to put it into the present. So if you liked it, come back to us on November 7th, PC Mac on Steam. And is there something you would like to add, Malte?
No, nothing more. Just play the game. It really is fun. So just do it, and have fun with it. Great.
Do you have any wishes for the game or for the community? Besides the fun?
Yeah, I don't know. I hope the one thing I hope most is that a lot of new players are coming to play the game, and that we, on the other hand, that we don't disappoint the old Larry fans. So that would be perfect for me. Yeah, and we hope you will like the jokes and the puzzles.
Great. I think that's a good end. So November 7, PC Mac on Steam. Hope to see you again. This might be not the last stream, but yeah, as we already said, it's a bit difficult to stream this game without spoiling. Thank you. See you, and have a nice Larry. Bye bye.
Thank you, guys. Bye bye. Thanks, guys.